July 18, 2025 will be remembered as the day America reclaimed its financial future. With one signature, President Trump didn't just pass a law, he ignited a digital revolution that will reshape global finance for decades to come. The Genius Act isn't just about regulating stablecoins, it's about ensuring America dominates the $15 trillion cryptocurrency market of the 21st century. 1 year ago, this was just a campaign promise. Today, it's law. The Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act creates the world's first comprehensive federal framework for dollar-pegged cryptocurrencies, finally giving innovators clear rules instead of regulatory threats. Remember when U.S. crypto companies fled to Dubai? When investors feared every tweet from Washington bureaucrats? Those days are over. The Genius Act does what no administration dared. It brings crypto out of the shadows and into the American financial mainstream, with Trump's signature free market twist. Here's why this matters. Stablecoins are the bridge between crypto and traditional finance. By requiring transparency without crushing innovation, this law could do for digital dollars what the 1996 Telecom Act did for the internet. Unleash an explosion of growth. Not everyone's celebrating. Critics warn of risks, while crypto skeptics see betrayal. But with China's digital yuan advancing and the EU struggling to keep up, America just fired its biggest shot yet in the global financial tech war. This isn't just about markets, it's about sovereignty, about whether the future of money will be built in Washington or Beijing. And today, America just took the lead. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing today is nothing less than the birth certificate of America's digital financial future. This East Room signing ceremony represents the culmination of a decade-long battle between crypto innovators and Washington regulators. A battle that began when Satoshi's creation was still worth less than a pizza. The Genius Act's bipartisan passage marks a tectonic shift in financial policy. Remember how just 2 years ago, under the previous administration, we had Operation Choke Point 2.0 targeting crypto firms? When SEC lawsuits were crashing markets weekly? Today we've gone from regulatory persecution to presidential embrace. But why stablecoins first? Because they're the Trojan horse that will bring blockchain into mainstream finance. Like the 1863 National Banking Act created uniform currency during the Civil War, this law brings order to the digital dollar ecosystem. Early market reactions prove its impact. Bitcoin's 3% surge was just the opening act. Most poetically, this comes exactly 16 years after the Bitcoin white paper. Where Nakamoto gave us the technology, Trump has now provided the legal infrastructure. The Nashville Promise wasn't just rhetoric, it was a blueprint, and with characteristic Trumpian flair, he's delivering it through a law literally called Genius, ensuring his brand stays etched in financial history. Let's dissect the legislative DNA that makes this act so transformative. The reserve disclosure requirements, modeled after the 1913 Federal Reserve Act's transparency mandates, are surgical in their precision. By demanding monthly attestations, they prevent another Terra Luna collapse while avoiding the compliance nightmare of daily reporting. The $50 billion threshold is textbook regulatory tiering, what we call Goldilocks regulation. Not so burdensome that it crushes startups like the Sarbanes-Oxley Act initially did, but stringent enough to police systemic risks. It's the same principle behind Dodd-Frank's $50 billion bank threshold, just adapted for the digital age. Now, the privacy coin ban will be controversial, but consider the historical context. This isn't the first time America has balanced privacy against financial oversight. The 1970 Bank Secrecy Act created similar tensions. The genius, pun intended, of Section 4 is its narrow targeting. It doesn't ban privacy coins outright, just prevents them from claiming stablecoin status. Most strategically, the state law preemption clause avoids a patchwork nightmare. This was learned from the cannabis industry's struggles with conflicting state-federal rules. By creating a unified framework, it gives the U.S. what the EU still lacks with MiCA, true regulatory harmony. The vote tallies tell only half the story. This bill's journey through Congress was more Game of Thrones than Schoolhouse Rock. Let me take you behind the scenes. The 12 Republican no votes, mostly from the anti-big tech faction who still view crypto as Silicon Valley's domain. Their opposition softened only after adding the anti-CBDC provisions, a brilliant piece of legislative horse trading. Maxine Waters' fiery opposition continued her 40-year pattern of financial skepticism dating back to her savings and loan crisis investigations. But here's what she missed. The bill's Section 7 actually adopts her own 2021 Stable Act's reserve requirements, just with more industry-friendly enforcement. The real masterstroke was how GOP leadership framed this. By tying it to China competition, much like the CHIPS Act, they turned crypto regulation from a niche issue into national security imperative. The 37 Democrats who broke ranks did so largely from districts with crypto mining operations or blockchain universities. And let's address the elephant in the room, the Trump token. While legally irrelevant to the bill, thanks to the cooling-off period, its existence created perfect political cover. Critics focused on this sideshow while the substantive provisions sailed through. The Genius Act isn't just domestic policy, it's a financial declaration of independence in the face of China's digital yuan and Europe's MiCA regulations. Let's break down the global chessboard. 1. China's digital yuan on defense. Beijing has poured $3 billion plus into its CBDC project since 2020, aiming to dethrone the dollar in trade settlements. But the Genius Act's Dollar Defense Clause mandates that major stablecoins must hold USD reserves, effectively turning Tether, USDT, and Circle, USDC, into digital dollar ambassadors. Impact. Overnight, China's state media shifted rhetoric from yuan globalization to warnings about U.S. financial hegemony. 2. Europe's regulatory fumble. The EU's MiCA framework, passed in 2023, now looks bloated and reactive. MiCA took 4 years to draft, Genius took 18 months. MiCA regulates everything, Genius surgically targets stablecoins first. Result: crypto firms like Binance are already signaling a pivot from Dublin to Miami. 3. The emerging markets wildcard countries like Nigeria, Turkey, and Argentina, where citizens rely on stablecoins to escape inflation, now face a dilemma. Option A: adopt U.S.-regulated stablecoins and de facto dollarize. Option B: develop local CBDCs and risk China-style surveillance. Prediction: within 5 years, 50% plus of dollar transactions in these markets could happen via stablecoins. The bigger picture. This is not just about crypto, it's about whether the 21st century financial system runs on, check US-backed stablecoins, transparent, open, China's digital yuan, state-controlled, surveilled. The Genius Act is the spark, but these are the flames about to ignite. Phase 1, regulatory onboarding, next 90 days. The Digital Asset Oversight Council will be formed. Watch for these key appointments. Treasury's pick, likely a former Coinbase exec. SEC's pick, will Gensler's successor be friendlier? Industry rep, a DeFi founder to placate innovators. First test case. How the council handles Facebook's Diem revival. Phase 2, state versus federal showdown, 2026. Texas and Wyoming will push pro-crypto state laws, tax breaks, mining incentives. California and New York will counter with stricter consumer protections. Outcome: a Delaware vs. Nevada dynamic for crypto incorporation. Phase 3. The 2026 midterm battleground crypto PACs will spend $200 million plus to back pro-Genius candidates. Attack ads will frame opposition as letting China win. Trump's wildcard, if he runs again, "I gave you crypto freedom," becomes a rallying cry. The endgame by 2030 we could see. Stablecoins surpassing Visa in transaction volume, the Fed launching a digital dollar light, not a CBDC but a Genius-compliant alternative, crypto becoming a wedge issue in U.S. politics like guns or abortion. Final thought: The Genius Act is the first chapter in America's digital financial future. The question is, who writes Chapter 2?